Jerry Jones doesn't just want a good team, he wants a kingdom. And in his latest plot twist, he zeroed in on Shedeur Sanders, the calm, composed, and dangerously talented quarterback who just happens to be the son of Deion Primetime Sanders. Yeah, that Deion. This is not a drill. Jerry is trying to rewrite history in real time, and he's starting with a name that already glows in neon. You see, while most teams are playing checkers, trying to draft right, manage cap space, maybe avoid a headline or two, Jerry's over here playing intergalactic chess. And apparently his next piece is Shedeur. Not just as a quarterback but as a brand. A franchise icon. The face of a global football empire that he wants the Cowboys to become.
If you're into the real story and all the messy twists they don't show on highlight reels, go ahead and subscribe. And if you're sticking around to see how this Browns QB chaos plays out, you should definitely be subscribed.
And how does one go about executing a plan this massive, this insane? The answer: by throwing every rule, expectation, and shred of NFL decorum straight into the nearest bonfire. Whispers are swirling of backdoor negotiations, secret meetings, maybe even full-on tampering. There's talk of calls made to Deion. Pressure applied. Back channels buzzing. And while the league tries to keep its face straight, deep down, you know they're sweating. Because if Jerry pulls this off, the entire balance of the NFL might shift. Maybe forever. But wait, what about Cleveland? Yes. Poor Cleveland. The Browns have been circling Shedeur too, desperate for a fresh start and a shot at a future not soaked in disappointment. For them, Sanders isn't just a draft target, he's hope in shoulder pads. But suddenly they find themselves in the middle of Jerry's media hurricane. Stefanski, who's been carefully laying out a rebuild strategy, is now watching it all teeter because Dallas just crashed the boardroom. And here's the thing, Jerry doesn't care. He's not here to play nice. He's not here to follow the script. He wants Shedeur and he wants him now. Whether that means cutting deals under the table, dangling future draft picks like candy, or challenging the league office to stop him, Jones is on a mission. It's legacy or bust. Because for Jerry, this isn't just about another quarterback prospect. This is about creating the next era of America's team. The Cowboys haven't won a Super Bowl since the 90s, but in Jerry's mind, this one move could launch them into a new stratosphere. Imagine it, Shedeur in a star-emblazoned helmet, Deion back in the fold as some kind of ambassador or consultant, and the Dallas brand exploding like it's 1995 all over again, except now with TikTok and international rights packages. It's not just bold. It's cinematic. Of course, the NFL isn't exactly thrilled about all of this. You've got executives murmuring about potential tampering violations. Legal teams quietly poking around. Other owners raising eyebrows. Because if Jerry succeeds, if he lands Sanders despite all the whispers and chaos, it sets a terrifying precedent. Suddenly, it's not about who has the best scouting team or the smartest front office. It's about who has the biggest war chest and the loudest media machine. And let's not pretend Shedeur is just sitting back watching this like it's some Netflix miniseries. The kid knows exactly what he's worth. His jersey sales are already outpacing some NFL starters. His media presence is clean, marketable, and charismatic. He's got poise in the pocket and Instagram appeal. He doesn't just throw spirals, he commands attention. And whether he ends up in Cleveland or Dallas, he's bringing a spotlight with him. But there's a cost. If Jerry does this, if he really pushes past legal gray areas, league politics, and public scrutiny, it could blow up in spectacular fashion. Sanctions, fines, front office suspensions. And even if he gets Shedeur, there's no guarantee the locker room survives the fallout. You can't just drop a media circus into a team mid-transition and expect harmony. But let's be honest, when has Jerry ever cared about harmony? The man thrives on chaos. He feeds on headlines. And even when he's making enemies, he's making news. To him, the spectacle is the strategy. The controversy? That's just marketing. Cleveland, meanwhile, is scrambling. Internally, the Browns are torn. Do they go all in on Shedeur and try to outmaneuver Dallas? Do they hold firm and stick to their development plan? Or do they risk losing a generational talent to the biggest brand bully in the league? Because once Jerry wants something, he doesn't usually walk away empty-handed. And this is where things get poetic, in that dramatic, only in the NFL kind of way. Shedeur represents everything the modern league is becoming. Talent wrapped in brand potential, legacy fused with marketability. He's the future in cleats. And right now, two very different cities are fighting to claim him. One clinging to hope, the other chasing glory. If Shedeur goes to Cleveland, it's a story of rebuilding and redemption. A team that's clawed its way out of dysfunction trying to finally get it right. But if he goes to Dallas? That's a blockbuster. That's Primetime 2.0. That's the Cowboys saying, "We're done waiting, get the cameras rolling." So what happens next? Does the league step in and put a stop to Jerry's power play? Or do they let the chips fall where they may, knowing full well that this drama is incredible for ratings? Will Stefanski and the Browns stand their ground, or will they get boxed out by one man's obsession with turning football into myth? And most importantly, what does Shedeur want? Because at the center of all this noise is a 21-year-old kid who's being asked to choose between becoming a symbol of Cleveland's rebirth or the golden child of Jerry's empire. No pressure. So here we are. The NFL isn't just a sports league anymore, it's a billion-dollar drama factory. And this particular storyline? Oh, it's a season finale cliffhanger if we've ever seen one. Jerry Jones is playing chess with flames. Deion Sanders is the most wanted man in football. And the Cleveland Browns are about to find out what happens when legacy, ego, and spectacle collide at full speed. So, who's gonna blink first? Is it gonna be the league, desperate to restore some kind of order? Is it Cleveland, clinging to a future they thought was finally theirs? Or is it Jerry Jones, who might just torch the whole system on his way to building the ultimate football empire? Stay tuned. Because in a league ruled by billionaires, broadcast rights, and media manipulation, sometimes the biggest plays happen off the field. And when Jerry Jones is calling the shots, the show is just getting started. Mock moral of the story? Never underestimate a man who built a stadium with a giant window just so the sun could shine on his team. Legacy isn't built on wins alone. It's built on headlines, spectacle, and occasionally a little bit of chaos. If you made it this far, you're clearly just as obsessed with the drama as we are. So tell us, should Shedeur stay with Cleveland or join the Jones circus in Dallas? Drop your take in the comments because this saga is far from over. And don't forget to subscribe. We've got plenty more meltdowns, power plays, and billion-dollar backstabbings coming your way. The NFL calendar is all about rhythm. Combine season, draft season, training camp, rinse and repeat. But Jerry doesn't care about rhythm. Jerry makes the beat. And this whole Shedeur Sanders plot? It's been playing out during a period when most teams are locking in their futures quietly, behind closed doors. Focused on schemes, coaching tweaks, maybe a few final roster spots. Not Jerry. He's calling meetings, flying private, allegedly making calls he's not supposed to make, all while making sure the media gets just enough to turn speculation into wildfire. Suddenly, Cowboys insiders are hinting at a surprise quarterback pursuit. Reporters are reading between the lines of Jerry's interviews like they're decoding a riddle. And every time the Cowboys make any move, fans and analysts are asking, is this part of the plan to clear the runway for Shedeur? And here's the thing, it just might be. Because Jerry Jones has never been one to follow the playbook. He is the playbook. When the league zigs, he zags. When teams prioritize scouting and player development, Jerry leans into branding, spectacle, and legacy building. Always has. Always will. Remember when he paid a king's ransom for Ezekiel Elliott? Or how he stuck with Tony Romo through thick and thin while the rest of the league scratched their heads? Or better yet, how he turned AT&T Stadium into a billion-dollar cathedral to himself, complete with a Victoria's Secret runway show and a screen bigger than most apartment buildings? Yeah, that's who we're dealing with. And that's why this Shedeur move, as crazy as it sounds, feels exactly like something Jerry would do. But don't get it twisted. This isn't just Jerry being flashy. This is Jerry being strategic. Because while most owners are thinking about salary caps and future picks, Jerry's thinking about immortality. He wants the Cowboys not just to win, but to mean something. He wants Dallas to be the Real Madrid of football. The Yankees of the NFL. A franchise that isn't just dominant on the field, but undeniable off it. And Shedeur Sanders? He's the kind of player who makes that dream possible. Think about it. He's got that rare combination of quarterback calm and media firepower. He's already being followed like a pro athlete while still playing college ball. Every Instagram story, every press conference, every sideline moment, it's all gold. Fans love him. Brands really love him. And Jerry? Jerry sees dollar signs and destiny. Now contrast that with Cleveland's position. They've been rebuilding longer than some fans have been alive. They've gone through quarterbacks like Kleenex. And just when they thought they had something stable, something real, here comes Jerry ready to swoop in like a headline-hungry hawk. Kevin Stefanski's not just trying to coach a team, he's trying to hold on to a future that suddenly feels shaky. Reports suggest the Browns are internally divided. Some want to fight, double down, do whatever it takes to bring Shedeur in and make him their guy. Others? They're worried that Jerry's circus will drag them into a media war they can't win. And honestly, can you blame them? Because let's say they do win the Shedeur sweepstakes. Great, right? But then what? You think Jerry Jones is just going to let that go? You think he's going to watch Shedeur succeed in Cleveland without turning it into a three-ring media circus? Please. If he can't have Shedeur, he'll try to own the narrative around him. He'll spin it. He'll poke. He'll stir. He'll haunt them. And for Shedeur himself, this whole mess puts him in the strangest position imaginable. He's a prospect with more leverage than some veterans. He doesn't need the NFL to get paid. He doesn't need the spotlight, it follows him. So he's got the luxury of choice. Does he want to be the savior of a struggling franchise like Cleveland, where expectations are low but the stakes are sky high? Or does he want to join football's biggest brand, where every move he makes will be a headline, a hashtag, a hot take? And yes, before you ask, technically none of this should matter until the draft. But come on. We all know the rules are only as strong as the people willing to enforce them. And when it comes to Jerry Jones, the man treats rules like polite suggestions. The league could step in. They should step in. But will they? Because here's the uncomfortable truth. Jerry's chaos is good for business. You think the NFL doesn't love this drama? That they're not watching ratings spike, social media explode, talk shows go full conspiracy mode over what's next? Oh, they love it. They live for it. The NFL has become a reality show in shoulder pads, and Jerry Jones is the executive producer. But let's be real, this kind of unchecked power comes with a cost. If Jerry can tamper, trade, and twist his way into landing a superstar quarterback before the draft even hits, what message does that send to the rest of the league? That the rules only matter if you're not rich enough to ignore them? That legacy matters more than fairness? That the game is secondary to the show? Because if that's the case, we're not watching football anymore, we're watching Game of Thrones with cleats. And Jerry Jones? He's playing the role of NFL Tywin Lannister to perfection. Still, you can't help but admire the audacity. The sheer scale of this plan. Most owners play for the season. Jerry plays for the statue. He's building something bigger than a team, he's building mythology. And for that, he needs a quarterback who isn't just good. He needs one who shines, who sells, who becomes legend. And who better than Shedeur? He's young, confident, photogenic, and just polarizing enough to dominate the conversation. He doesn't need to chase fame, he is the fame. And Jerry sees that. He knows that. To him, Shedeur isn't just a QB. He's the final piece of a legacy puzzle 30 years in the making. And maybe, just maybe, Shedeur's starting to see it too. So now, every team meeting in Cleveland has a shadow hanging over it. Every quarterback rep, every press conference, every scouting report. It's all tinged with the question, what if Jerry wins? Because if he does, if Shedeur ends up in Dallas, the league changes forever. We're talking global merch sales. Primetime 2.0. A Cowboys brand so big it stops being a football team and starts being a cultural movement. There will be memes, documentaries, TikTok edits with dramatic music and slow-mo passes. And somewhere in the background, Jerry will be smiling that knowing smile. Because he will have done it. He will have stolen the future right out from under everyone. And Cleveland? They'll be left wondering if they ever had a chance. So yeah, it's chaos. It's a mess. It's a borderline scandal. But isn't it so entertaining? Because love him or hate him, Jerry Jones has reminded us of one very important thing. The NFL isn't just a league. It's a stage. And right now, he's standing center, curtain raised, spotlight on, and he just might be pulling off the biggest heist in football history. This Jerry Jones Shedeur Sanders saga is a symptom of something bigger, something louder, something totally unhinged in the DNA of modern football. Welcome to the age of the NFL celebrity owner era, where the line between mogul and madman is a blur, and the scoreboard is only half the story. Jerry isn't just trying to win games. He's trying to rewrite how the game is played. The NFL used to be about who had the better draft class, the stronger defense, the smarter coaching tree. But now, it's about who can control the narrative, who can turn a rookie into a legend before he's even taken a snap, who can sell hope as a luxury product and legacy as a brand asset. And Jerry is king of that game. Now let's talk about the Deion Sanders factor. Because if you think Jerry's obsession with Shedeur is just about talent, you're not seeing the whole board. Deion and Jerry? They go way back. Prime time was Dallas in the 90s. Flash, swagger, domination. He didn't just play football, he performed it. And now here comes his son with the same DNA, the same aura, but this time with platforms. Social media. Nil deals. Personal branding baked into his highlight reels. You think Jerry doesn't see the poetry in that? You think he doesn't see the PR potential of bringing both Sanderses back into the Dallas orbit? Picture it, Shedeur under center. Deion pacing the sideline in a Cowboys bomber jacket. The camera cutting to Jerry in the suite, sipping something expensive, smirking like a man who just beat the system again. It would be pure spectacle. A living commercial. The Super Bowl might not even matter. He'd already win the ratings war by September. But here's the uncomfortable part. The NFL isn't built to handle this. It was never built for one man to outmaneuver the structure this completely. And yet Jerry's doing it. With every leak, every meeting, every shady rumor that slips into the Twitterverse at just the right time. He's moving the conversation, turning a future draft pick into a full-blown cultural phenomenon before he even declares. Meanwhile in Cleveland? Panic. Because let's be real, Cleveland's story is always a little tragic. They're the indie film to Dallas's blockbuster. The slow rebuild. The tortured loyalists. The dog-pound barking through losing seasons, praying that maybe this year the stars will align. Shedeur was supposed to be part of that miracle. The turning point. The guy who finally made it all worth it. But now, every hour that passes without a definitive statement from Sanders' camp is another crack in the foundation. Stefanski's hands are tied. The front office is spinning. And the fans? Well, they're spiraling. Reddit threads. Instagram reels. TikToks with tinfoil hat theories about tampering and trade packages and secret deals on private yachts. Because nobody, not nobody, wants to be the team that almost got Deion Sanders. That's not a footnote. That's a curse. But let's pause for a moment. Take a breath. Because there's a quiet irony here that nobody's talking about. The very thing Jerry's banking on, the spectacle, the legacy, the flash, is exactly what could cost him. Because for all his calm composure, Deion Sanders is not a puppet. He's been raised by a man who saw firsthand what it means to be used by a system. Deion didn't just play in the league, he watched it eat people alive. And now he's spent the last few years making damn sure his son knows how the game really works. So the question is, does Shedeur want to be the crown jewel in Jerry's empire? Or does he want to carve his own path? Because going to Cleveland, while far less glamorous, comes with something Jerry can't buy: control. In Cleveland, Shedeur becomes the guy. The savior. The centerpiece. He could build from the ground up, write his own story, own every inch of it. In Dallas? He'd always be part of Jerry's legacy, never his own. And that, folks, is where this gets spicy. Because for all Jerry's money and muscle, there's one thing he can't manufacture: authenticity. And if Shedeur senses that he's being cast in a movie he didn't audition for, he just might walk. And what happens if he does? What if, after all the rumors and media chaos and quiet threats from league offices, Jerry ends up empty-handed? That's not just a loss. That's an embarrassment. A full-blown public meltdown. Legacy dented. Headlines reading, Jones overplayed hand, loses future star. And Jerry? He hates to lose. But here's the thing. Even if Shedeur picks Cleveland, Jerry still wins. Because we're talking about it. We're obsessed with it. We're tracking every movement like it's a Marvel end credits scene. And Jerry knows that the true value of the NFL isn't just what happens on Sunday. It's what we talk about on every other day. He's hijacked the offseason. Again. And that, my friends, is why this isn't just a sports story. This is a case study in media manipulation, legacy obsession, and billionaire ego. It's also a reminder of just how fragile the NFL's integrity really is. Because for every tampering investigation, for every anonymous source crying foul, the league itself is still cashing the checks. Still airing the segments. Still feeding the fire. So who's really in control? Is it the league? Or is it Jerry? Or is it Shedeur? We're at a crossroads. A weird moment where football has become myth-making and quarterbacks are more than players. They're pawns, kings, brands, symbols. And in the middle of it all is a 21-year-old kid with the talent to take over the league, and the pressure of two billionaires basically trying to own his future. No big deal. So where do we go from here? If Shedeur goes to Cleveland, it's the start of something gritty, something earned. The Browns become must-watch TV for the first time in years. Not because of hype, but because of hunger. If he goes to Dallas? Well, buckle up. Because that's not just a career move, that's a dynastic shift. That's Jerry Jones betting his final chips on one kid, one name, one story to define the last act of his football empire. And if he doesn't go anywhere yet? If he stays in college, rides the wave a little longer? Then the chaos resets. The rumor mill reloads. And Jerry? He waits. Because he always waits. And when the spotlight swings back around, he'll be ready. Because that's the thing about Jerry Jones. Love him or loathe him, you can't ignore him. He's built for this. Not just the business of football, but the theater of it. And in his mind, Shedeur Sanders isn't just a quarterback. He's the main character. And Jerry? He's directing the damn show. So stay alert. Stay suspicious. Stay dramatic. Because whatever happens next, it won't be quiet. And it definitely won't be boring. Now tell us what you think. If you're Jerry, do you keep pressing? If you're Shedeur, do you bet on legacy or freedom? And if you're the NFL, do you step in or let the billionaires play their games? Drop your theories, your hot takes, your wild predictions in the comments below. And if you live for this kind of sports chaos, you already know what to do. Subscribe. Stick around. Because in this league, the real drama never ends.